And welcome along to the Panto podcast. This week my guest is the legend himself, Rusty Gough. In this episode he tells me about how he was a musical child, carrying others, and getting some amazing advice from the late great Roy Kinnear. So please sit back and enjoy the latest Panto podcast.
My guest for today's Panto podcast is Rusty Gough. Hello, Rusty.
Hello, Hayden. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, mate. And I'm here in your house, and you've got pooches.
I've got, yes, two pooches. Yes, pooches. Daisy, which is a cockapoo. Daisy is now 9 years of age. She's our own dog, but also the wife and I socialise medical detection dogs. We've been doing this for a few years now. We're on our fourth dog. We've a lovely Labrador, her female. Her name is Mabel.
And she's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. And she'll be training, hopefully. One day might be an assistance dog to someone who's got diabetes, Parkinson's, where she can assist them. Or she'll be medical, where they send samples from hospitals. So they she'll sniff them and say whether they're cancerous or not, or whether now they're doing a COVID. So dogs are deployed at airports where they already are. So you can say, you're not coming in this country, which is lovely, isn't it? It's lovely. Better than someone saying, oh, looking at you. Let the dog sniff you. No, back her off.
How did you get started in the business then?
I always wanted to be in show business. When I left school at the age of 15, my careers master wanted me to be a printer. I thought, no, I want to entertain people. Because I was always musical, right from when I first can remember. I joined the Boy Scouts, not because I would tie knots, because they had a band. I wanted to be in the band. So I was always musical, and I always wanted to go in show business, and my mum and dad, God bless them, they did not stop me. And there's a band show, it used to be every summer, the bandstand in Herne Bay. That's where I was born. No, yeah, the town, not in the bandstand. In my hometown. And I used to go there every day, just listen to this music, just loved it. And I used to enter the talent competitions, and win. It was the only time I've used the dwarf, the R factor. I went on stage, you can hear the old age pensioners going, bless him. And then I used to play All Things Bright and Beautiful or something like that on the piano. And they were the judges. Hands up or the biggest clap will get the prize. So I went on, it was like a standing ovation. And I won the prize. And I used to do this every week. Till my mother came down, watched us standing at the back. She said, what are you doing down this on this Friday afternoon near us? And she saw what I was doing. She made me give the prize back and slapped me around the head.
What?
Boxed me around the head. You little backer, shouldn't be doing this. But, that's how I got the applause first, oh bless them. And I was used the disability card, the dwarf, which is, there we go, I've never used that since.
But the addiction then to that sort of, roar of the crowd.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I loved. The audience reaction to what I was doing and smiling. And it was lovely. And then the band leader of the show wanted to know when I left school. I said, well, end of this year. And he said, would you like to join me in my show next year? We're down in Southsea, near Portsmouth, in the band show at the end of the pier. I said, yeah, I'd love to. Said to my mum, she said, yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. So she came down with me to sort out the digs, etc. And that's how I started in the band show. And the main theatre was Terry Scott and Hugh Lloyd doing Hugh and I. So they were my first stars I ever met. But there were a lot of people who came down to see the show. One was Bunny Barron, a famous impresario in those days. Bunny, and he came to see the show because he was a friend of the band leaders. And he said, I need this boy. Charlie Chester is making a new crazy gang. And they've got Cinemax Harrison, and they've got Eric Jeeves Greer, and you'll be, and Len Lowe, of course, the greatest straight man ever, and you'll be ideal. They want him. So then I went to Ramsgate for my second summer season.
And how old were you then?
I was 16. 16. And then came Panto. Nothing was happening, of course, it was just summer seasons. I didn't do cabaret then. Just Pantos came up, and they found out at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they're looking for people that could do things. So that was my first ever panto I had done that year, in the Christmas of that year in Bolton. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
And do you remember who you were playing?
I was playing a dwarf.
Really?
Yes. I was playing a dwarf.
Going against type.
That's
it?
when I found out that the Disney names were copyright. You couldn't use them. So I think I was Achu or something like that.
Did you have a big part?
Yeah, well, I was young and I was playing musical instruments in the show, so it was, yeah. And then I first realised, well, I'm doing the work, but these guys are sitting on their backsides doing sod all. I'm coming off sweating. And that happens a lot of time in the Snow Whites I've done over the years. You're carrying a lot of people.
Did you know many people with dwarfism back then when you were younger?
No. These guys were the first people I've ever seen were short. And it surprised me. But there again, I thought, well, they're like me.
Did you get on with them?
Yeah, very well. Very well. Very well indeed. Very well indeed.
And what else then were you doing? Because we know there's other things you've done with your career, film career.
Well, that came much later. It was usually variety, summer shows, pantomimes, ice shows. The Tom Arnold Snow White and Seven Dwarfs on Ice, which now they use the Disney names. And I was sneezing. I started off in the world tour. Ended and started in Paris. Started and ended in Paris. And I played Sneezy, in the world tour. With the big heads on we had, the Disney heads. That was fun. And then we did summer seasons with those in Morecambe at the Winter Gardens, and in Christmas season at the Sophia Gardens in Cardiff. So
it's taken you all over the world. And you had an album out.
I did then, yes. I called For Your Entertainment. Yes.
How many instruments can you play?
I have 44 in all. They're not all on this album, which are now collector's items.
I know.
We are collector's items, yes.
I can't afford one.
Which
I'll sell the mics and get it.
Which when I done the cabaret actor, you go going down the holiday centres. I used to flog them at the end of the act. They used to queue up these people. I thought, I've made it. Lucky number one. Well, I hell no, but it was great. Enjoyed it. And enjoyed my life. And then I wanted to do television and films, and that came on. It was the films actually in 1970. Friends of mine who I did pantomime phoned me up and said, we're doing a film. You're in it. I said, what do you mean we're doing a film? I'm in it. He said, well, there's no audition. No, because I'd already been to auditions. I got turned down. That comes later. And so, we're in it. Because they need 10 little people. There's only 6 people in this country who can work and talk. So we've got the film. They're using the 4 others from all over Europe. So it's filmed in Munich, Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. And that's how that started. So there was no audition. That started, and that was my greatest film I've ever done in my life, Aidan. I really loved that, and I learned a hell of a lot through the lovely late comic Roy Kinnear. He was absolutely funny man, lovely dream, but sensible. We used to chat. We had many hours off waiting, talking about it with Gene and Jack Albus and Roy. And I was saying to Roy, he said, "Why would you do anything else?" And I said, "No, this is the first movie." They were quite shocked. He said, "Why?" I said, "Because I couldn't do any more auditions." He looked at me and said, "Lie." I said, "What do you mean, lie?" He said, "Well, if they say, 'Can you do something?' say yes." Yeah. He said, "Because it's 3 or 4 weeks before you'll be doing the job, so you can learn to do what they want." Well, that happened about a few months later. After I finished Wonka, went for an audition. They said, "Can you ride a horse?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Great, you've got the job. you're the only dwarf we've been in here that can ride a horse. So you've got the job. I said, fantastic, fantastic. I went home, picked up the phone and dialed the local stable. So I said, I want to ride a horse now, tomorrow, today. So, well, in a few weeks I could sit on it, I could start it, I could stop it, I could walk, trot, gallop even. I thought, great, this lovely little pony, 14-hand high pony, it was lovely. And they said, well, filming in Boscastle on the moors at Bobbin. I said, fantastic. Went down there in the train. They met me at the station and they took me up in the moors. They said, right, well, first of all, we want the light is fantastic. So we're going to do a long shot of you galloping from one side of the moor to the other. I said, fantastic, lovely. Now, this is your horse. I looked up. There was a bloody great stallion. 20-odd got hands at high. Well, they had to lift me on it. And I looked like a pea on a drum. The stallion, which was named Storm. Well, the director was lovely. Russ, did you lay your horse? I said, yes, thank you. Yes, it's lovely. Are we going to do it soon or tomorrow? Hoping I said, no, we're going to do it now. So I was taken over to this copse by the trainer, the owner of this horse, and the guy said to me as we were walking across, he said, you haven't ridden one of these before, have you? I said, not this size. No, not this size. He said, don't worry, Storm is very gentle. Now, if you look up the copse of trees opposite us, there's my partner. He'll be holding the nose bag. You go set off with Storm, and he'll come out, rattling the nose bag. Storm will see it, and you slow down. That's all they want, just one shot, galloping across. Oh, fine, that was easy, great. Well, we stood there, director's megaphone in the centre, down the hill. And he went, ready, red, ready, action! Well, I tried to kick the horse. My legs wouldn't reach down to the starting place. I kept going, action! Well, the groom saw this and whacked him on the backside. I was off. I thought all the life was going before me. I could see all this. And I could see the groom come out, holding the nose bag, rattling, and it's slowing down till it stopped. Director, Rusty, that was fantastic. We could see the whites of your eyes. Not surprised. So thanks, Roy Kinnear, I got that job.
And has that always led you to other paths as well?
Yes. I went for a job as... They said, do you do stunts? Yes. Yes. So I ended up falling down the flight of stairs, pretending to be a 6-year-old girl in a remake of The Spiral Staircase with Jackie Bissett.
How do you prepare for something like that? Or do you
just go and
practice?
I hope. No, just practice on the set. So the stuntman there said, you haven't done stunts before, have you? I said, no. How do you know? He said, because you're not on the stunt register. Oh. They said, don't worry, it's quite easy. And there the stair carpet, about 6 carpets on and there's water was all over the place. I said, what's this for? I know, just dampen it down. Don't worry. Okay. So I was at the top, and we're not going to have a practice. We're going straight into it. No rehearsal. I said, okay. So I'm at the top of the stairs, and the stuntman said, really crouch down to the lowest you can get, because when you roll, you're not. The first point of contact will be your shoulder, and you'll only be about a foot off the ground. So if you stood up in the fall, you've got about 4 odd foot to go before you first hit the staircase. So I crouched down. Right, action. But it was like this. I'm going to say action, Rusty, and you're going to roll. Okay, no problem. Right, stand by. Turn over. Turn up the gas. Action. And they turned up this gas. Jets of fire were coming everywhere. But I'd already ready to go on action. He said action. I went. Rolled down. One take, done it. I was laying on the bottom of the stair going, Am I alive? They were standing there with fire extinguishers, but they didn't need it. I was like, so there we go.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. Don't lie anymore.
And 44 instruments.
Yeah.
Did you start learning them at school?
I learned a piano when I was young. I used to tap out tunes. We never learned a piano. You just tap out on the piano, on the sideboard. And my mum and dad thought he's musical, so they got me a piano from a jumble sale. And there we go. I learned to play. And very soon I was picking out tunes on this piano. So they sent me to music lessons, which I hated. But I'm so pleased I did, because then I learned to read music. You know, I want to do my own thing, you know, by ear, play by ear. Anyway, that was it. Then I joined the Boy Scouts because they had a band, and I started off with a cornet, and I went right through the instruments, including the trombone. They put a slide on it, a piece of metal, so I can reach the 7th position. So that was exciting, and I enjoyed that. So I was all musical. And then everyone progressed from there, because once you go to lip, say, for trumpets, they can play flugelhorn, euphonium, sousaphone even, just widen the mouth.
Is there anything that you haven't quite mastered?
Yes, violin. Because they've got short arms and hands. They won't turn, the wrist won't turn to reach the frets. Fretboard, or whatever you call a violin.
Can you not get them made smaller?
Yes, you can get smaller, but it still wouldn't turn over.
Right.
I did try a smaller, a half-size, quarter-size violins, but I couldn't make it.
And what about playing piano then? Because
Piano I could play, that was easy. I passed my 7th grade, and with distinction in piano, which I had to have use the expression pedal, which they called the loud pedal. But my music teacher, as I couldn't reach it, he was handy at woodwork. He made me a pedal, which I could take in the examination room, screw it on, then start, which I did. So that was exciting.
have you always found that people have been very accepting?
Yeah. I used to talk to the examiner. Hello. Oh, what's that? My extension pen. Oh, that's interesting. Got up to have a look. And he was very happy that I could do it, and I will reach the expression pedal, which was needed for this piece of music.
And that was it?
That was it.
Nothing else, just
No.
that's it?
Yeah.
You can do it? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I've had a good life. I enjoyed it.
Has there ever been anything kind of that's impeded your progress, either with acting or opinions of people?
Well, pictures of people, you know, you get this every day. You know, you always get the M word, the midget, which is a slang because they won't say the N word anymore. So you get all this. So you have the abuse right from the early age, and but you get used to it. You get used to it. You definitely. Yeah, I'm just falling off my stool here. No, I won't sue you, don't I? Well, I could do. Anyway, no problem. Just,
Have a mic.
They're nice mics. Yeah, you get used to it every day, 24/7. You're going to get someone saying, "Look at that funny little man. Why are you so?" And you get the parents say, especially the kids, because they're interested. They might not have seen a dwarf before. So what's that funny? Why is he short? And you're going to get the parents say, because he didn't eat his greens.
Oh.
Stupid question. Instead of saying, and he said to me, "Why are you short?" I said, "Because I didn't grow when I was a little boy." End of conversation. They've sussed it,
And that's it. And kids,
Good. Okay.
other people,
Yeah.
little people I've spoken to, have said it's not a problem once kids address that.
Yeah. You get that, and then people want to touch you. Irish people, because they think it's lucky to touch a little guy. And they will run across the road, come and touch you. Bagger off! Oh, it talks. He talks,
When you were in Snow White, there's a lot of spare time there.
Yeah.
You're not on stage for a lot of business, really. What were you doing during the rest of the time then?
Resting. Because once you're on it was hard work. Panto is, you must have been told many, many times, doing the hardest genre of show business, that is. You know, then you've got to end, do the finale, and then do it all again. Or during 3 shows and then doing it another time, you know. So it really is very, very hard. So I was resting. Because I worked. I love doing it. And you work, sweated, and you're looking around and you see some of these guys are not doing anything. They're sitting down, lazy, not doing anything. They think, either, let's put it bluntly, no talent, accidents of birth, getting paid a lot of money because they are short. And that's it. They get paid every week. Friday, there's the money coming in the bank, or in the old days in your hand, and they will go out on the booze, go and buy the latest iPhone, put a phone, a Samsung, whatever, and there are you scraping to pay the mortgage, and you're doing all the work. And that has happened a lot of time in Snow White. And a lot of my friends will back me up on this. They're doing all the work, they're turning around, and these guys are doing soddle.
How can these people who are doing soddle learn? Or what have they got to be able to sort of help them, shall I say?
Nothing. They don't want to be helped. They don't want to be helped. They're short. They know next year they're going to do another pantomime. All the money's coming, the rest of the year the benefits money are coming. Yeah, I'm talking bluntly because it's just true. And they will work for the following year. They might get a couple of movies, television bits where they're in a skin, a costume when they're not seen. And some of them in the Harry Potter, well, my one I which I was Willow, where they used 400 and odd little people from all over the Europe. And hardly anyone was in show business. They gave up very lucrative day jobs to be in this movie, and it was like, I remember the first scene. They got all these little people, men, female, children, all lined up for the first shot. Of course, they said, right, action. They done what they want to do. I think it was dogs running through. Cut. They all disappeared because they didn't understand you've got to stay there. Because there's going to be another shot. Take 2, take 3. They never realised that. Gone. So we spent another hour and a bit lining them all up again. And of course, in those days there wasn't like video to have a look with the if there are
the rushes.
The continuity. So that to get. And I didn't like that. And they were quite abusive. Some of the crew was like quite abusive to all the little people. They didn't understand. They couldn't even speak the English because they said all through Europe. And in those days, if they were Romanian, they spoke Romanian.
How important has comedy been to you?
Comedy has been fantastic to me. Important, very, very important. I have to make a joke to start with, my cabaret act about my size to start with. I started off singing Walk Tall. So I don't, I'm not frightened, I'm not offended about my size. So you shouldn't be my audience, you shouldn't be. I'm as my mum said, I'm short, I'll always be short. Nothing she can do about it, nothing I can do about it. So, a comedy was great. And when I my second summer season with the great Charlie Chester down in Ramsgate, and we were going to Blackpool the following year, which we did, and but they'd overbooked. So we got cut out, but Charlie said to me, stay, you're young, you said they're going to cut all your money, you're not going to get anything. What you get? Stay, you get all your money. He said, stay, come into my room whenever, and I will teach you comedy.
From Charlie Chester.
From Charlie Chester, the great, wonderful Charlie Chester, yes.
Radio star.
A radio star. Even Max Wall was frightened of him because he's a big name. Charlie was a big name, and so he taught me a lot of just watch me on the show. Always, and he always said, whatever you do in life, watch people, because you never know when you're going to be asked to be that person, to act that person. or speak like that person. So just watch and observe them. Great bit of advice.
And what kind of things were you incorporating then in your act?
Well, I was incorporating accents, funny walks, and but mainly a timing of timing a joke, a joke, for when the tagline comes in. Pause, wait. Situation comedy. That's my favourite comedy. Is situation comedy. There's been some such great, which I've cried at myself. When you think 40 Towers, how old that is, 30 odd years, and you're still laughing at it. And I think it's way before its time. John Cleese and Connie, they wrote some wonderful stuff, random funny stuff. And because you know what's going to happen with, and it's the timing, waiting for it to happen. It's like One Foot in the Grave, Victor Melcher. You know he's going to say, I don't believe it, but you wait for that. But it's the timing of Richard to wait that till he comes out with it.
What other great comedy people have you worked with?
Good. Well, great. Frankie Howard I worked with. As I said, Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks in The History of the World Part 1. That was fun, working with Mel. Very funny man, very clever man. Big funny man. Brian Connolly, Jim Davison. Younger older people. Russ Appert, lovely. Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to develop yourself as a serious actor?
Yeah, I thought I had one day. I've always wanted to do one of these soaps in my life. There's never been a male dwarf in a soap. So there've been ladies dwarfs, one in EastEnders, God bless her, but never in at all. Male dwarf. And I've always wanted to do that. And I got my chance the last Harry Potter, one where I played Ben. Let me see, actually a wind, and they think it's me crying. That's my medical detection dog being let out. Hello, love. Mind the microphone, you'll be on. And sorry, I've lost it now.
Talking about the soap operas.
Yeah, I was lucky in the last Harry Potter film. I was given the part of the chief bank teller, which was wonderful, sitting on there when Helen Bonham Carter comes in. Supposed to be Hermione as Helen Bonham Carter, but it was Helen Bonham Carter comes in with Rupert, and I get that wonderful immortal line, identification, and then it all carried on from there. I enjoyed that, being serious and not the funny man.
Going back though to the start of your film career.
Yes.
The wonderful Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now,
50 years, 50 years since we were released.
It means so much, but when you were there, did it feel magical, or did it just feel like another gig?
It did. It did, and on the set, especially when we're on the chocolate room, as they called it, one with the river going it. The other day I'd done something on telly. They had a critic come on, and they was talking about this river, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, it's real chocolate, real chocolate." And I was doing this interview with Michael Butner, who played Augustus Gloop, the one who fell on it every day. And they said, "Michael, it was real chocolate you fell in." "No, it was stinky water." Which it was. It stunk a hammer. And we were pouring real sugar and real cream into it daily. And with all the lights, because there's no video, so you do real stuff. So it was all getting mixed up with Waterfall. And then Waterfall got clogged up. So we had a couple of weeks off while they cleaned the river, drained it, took all the waterfall apart, cleaned all the parts, and then filled it up again, but then they had to colour match it. There was no computers, so filled it up, put some dye in it, churn it round, film it, develop it, look at it, put more dye in it, and that went on for 2 weeks till they got the same match as they did before.
And you got sort of that job instantly without even being
instantly.
auditioned.
Yeah.
What did you think of the look of the Oompa Loompas then?
Well, I'll tell you the right story about that. The orange faces and green hair. That's down to apartheid. Shock, isn't it? Yes. When we were doing the 40th anniversary in New York, I was traveling. Mel Stewart, the director, said, "I want to travel with the Oomp." So he always called me the Oomp. So him and I were in this limo. We're going down to this chocolate factory shop, and we're sitting down there, going down Fifth Avenue, and he said, "You know where you got the orange face and green hair?" I said, "No, it's apartheid." I said, "How?" He said, "Well, when we were writing this in the end of '60s, he said, knock on the door came, come in. Hey, hi." He said, "We hear you're writing a movie." He said, yeah, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah. Get me right. Is that right, that little people? He said, yeah, Oompa Loompas. He said, yeah. They're using black little people. Yeah, as in the book Roald Dahl wrote, yeah. You can't do that. You can't use the black man. Okay. He walked out and he was right bullshit about this guy apparently. And he turned around to Mel and said, "So, what are you going to do about it?" And off the top of his head, he said, "I'll give him green hair and orange faces." I said, "Okay, you can make the movie." "Oh, what are you going to call it?" He said, "As in the book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory." You can't do that. Why? Because Charlie was the name the black plantations workers gave to the big white boss, Mr. Charlie. "Okay, I'll call it Willy Wonka of the Chocolate Factory." So that's how it was called, Willy Wonka of the Chocolate Factory, and that's why we had orange faces and green hair, apartheid.
Crikey, I never knew that.
Not many people do, but they do
They
now.
do now, yes.
do
There you
now.
go, the exclusive.
Yes.
And looking back on it, it makes complete sense. But
It does.
It wasn't a massive hit at the time, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was only when it came on television, they'd done a remaster of the movie again. It came out in the theatres again in America, that people went onto it. And now, my God, it's massive. Wonka is massive, especially in America. Absolutely is.
And it's taken you all over the world.
Yes, all over the world, in doing conventions, in this country, in Germany, in Europe, in all over the States, and Japan.
How do you find the convention scene? Because that's relatively new, isn't it?
I love them, because you're talking to the fans, and I like talking to the fans, because without them, we would be nothing. I'll be talking to you. No, nobody listens to this. They're not a fan. So without the fans, we will be nothing. So I like them. I could spend hours, and I do spend hours, with the fan answering all their questions. And some might know more about the movie than you did.
Well, it means so much to us all,
Yeah.
and to be part of something so iconic in not only people's lives but also as well their family and children. Oh, hello! I'm getting old Mabel knocking the mic.
Yes, I know that's my.
But
not
yeah,
mine, yours.
But it's something that we want to share as well. I share it with my children.
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And to be honest, what do you think of the remake?
Has there been another?
Exactly. That's your answer says it all.
Yeah, you know, Tim Burton. Here's Robert Johnny Depp. Yeah. Well, for the first 10 minutes it works, and then it all falls apart. And I've spoke to many people about that question. What do you think? That was all right, but we went out the theatre singing Oompa Loompa Doompa Dee Doo. Yep, catch a tune.
What about then the career after that? Once it became this sort of big kind of not cult hit. But
There's a lull in that. I did the film Disciple of Death by riding a horse, and then Spiral Staircase. They came on, movies came on, and then television came on. I started doing things like television, which I was asked to do. Worked with a great director producer, Royce DeMeo, in various of his programs he did, and it was lovely fun. And then also with David Croft, etc., in the Hello, and the Are You Being Served? I did 2 episodes there, which was absolutely fun. And David directed one of the Chuckle Visions I did when I was Pete the Leprechaun. I enjoyed working with the boys. That was fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, they could do an episode in half a day. They're so pros. And David and the crew were so pros working with them. You go in, oh, this is great. You're all pro Joey stuff, finished, done, boxed.
Have you ever had any advice given to you from older dwarfs? Have there been older dwarfs who've had a career? Really?
Not really, no. I spoke to Billy Barty, one widow, but he was all with himself. He wasn't coming out. I didn't ask him questions, but he didn't really want to know. But saying that, I've met in my life, they're deceased now, 3 munchkins, which were from the original, and they were fun. They spoke to, but no advice, just but their lives in Munchkin Land and what they did in those days of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, where they were marched down all in one block from the hotel, and they're all black, but they had problems in the hotel, shootings, rapes, all these little guys. Yeah, it's in the book somewhere.
Is it?
Yeah.
And you've written the memoirs.
I'm in the middle of writing my book at the moment. Yes.
Have you chosen a title yet?
I cannot tell you.
Oh.
I cannot tell you.
Can't do that to us.
I can.
You're going to.
I'm going to. Yeah, I'm halfway through it.
How are you finding it?
Enjoyable. In fact, I'm remembering things I forgot years ago. But it's nice. I've got this guy co-writing it with me, and he's fantastic. So it's working.
What did Mum think of you then when you were performing?
She was very proud. She was very proud that, because when I was born, the first thing in this nursing home, the first thing she heard was a nurse say to the doctor, "What the hell did you save that thing for, doctor?" And he said, "Well, I had to, because our other son is in the hospital with polio." And that was a killer disease in those days, in the 1948, late 40s. Yeah, I had to. And the first word she said to him was, "Will he walk?" "Doctor, I don't know." "Will he talk?" "I don't know." And she had that. Take me home and bring me up the best as you can. And here we are, 73 years later, sit in my settee with my medical detection dog whining, knocking on mics. Knocking away.
Well, what a life you've had.
Yes. Well, it's not my medical, but we socialise them.
Mm.
Yeah. So I love doing that now. Now I've retired.
No, I don't think.
But, yeah,
would you ever properly retire, though?
Well, I mean, come on, if the Square phones up, say we want your EastEnders, I'll be there tomorrow.
Is that the soap you'd like to be in, EastEnders?
Yeah, would you like? Yeah.
I know it's down the road for you.
Yeah, that's easy. That's why I want to do it.
Not Corrie, all the way up to Manchester.
No. You have to use a foreign accent up there.
River City.
Yeah.
Up in Scotland. No.
Yeah, no. EastEnders, that do.
So how many pantos is it you've
I've done over 50, 53, 54. I've done many Snow Whites, and I've done pantos where I wasn't even a dwarf. Snow Whites where I wasn't even a dwarf. I was the principal comic. One in Barnstable, I was the principal comic, and they used children as dwarves. And one day it snowed so much, one of the kids couldn't get in. So I went on as the dwarf as well. No one realised. I'd done 2 parts, which no one ever realised I'd done it. So, yeah, thanks to the late great John Spillers and Dick Condon, I got out the dwarf things, doing proper panto, doing principal comics with John Spillers.
I think it would be nice to see that more, where somebody of reduced height, somebody in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair, be in the comic, because they can do it.
Yeah. How do you feel when you see in castings and they have people on their knees? With the billing, with the word dwarves.
Yeah, I think that shouldn't be allowed, because there are a load of dwarves out there. And dwarves now in show business who cannot get any work. but they could do. On and get the guy standing up. Let's see, because when they're dwarf, they have no perspective of being a dwarf when they're on their knees. They can't understand that. You can't work that one out. If you understand what I mean, but I can't. No, it doesn't. There's plenty of guys out there that can do it. Plenty of talented and untalented guys. As long as you've got your 7, who cares? They don't.
Do you ever try and take other dwarves under your arm and sort of encourage them? You don't?
Well, I don't have to. I've got my son Ben, who I'm sure you've got to talk to one day. The most talented dwarf I've ever known. He's a Royal Shakespeare he's done. Brilliant, yeah, excellent. Talented man, sod.
You've not done bad yourself, though, have you?
No.
44 instruments.
No, but I've done Willy Wonka, yes, and that. I've got the golden ticket.
And the Harry Potter.
Yeah, that was fun to do. We had the makeup, 5.5 hours each day on the first one.
Oh.
And then they cut that down to 4.5 hours 10 years later on Deathly Hallows Part 2. And that was fun to do. Growing up and seeing the kids, Daniel, Emma and Rupert, all of the young kids there, growing up to coming into adults and acting, and no airs and graces. Real professionals. Loved watching that. Talent. There we go.
When you were doing the panto, what were your favourite parts? Did you like to get involved with the business, with the silliness on the stage?
Yes, when I was doing principal comic, all the gags, slapstick and everything, I loved it. Nothing. And go back to Charlie Chester, timing the gag, so you get the biggest laugh, which I could do because I had that experience years ago with Charlie. Hold up, now do the line. Now do the line. And it works.
What about slosh?
Yeah, we could do that. I've done that many a time. Yes. Climbing onto the paintboard and getting the brush up my face and elsewhere. And it's comedy. It's, the great slosh actors, Charlie Caroli, God bless him, and God bless him, Charlie Drake. Great people. Funny people doing it.
Did you get the Panto blues?
No. I like going to watch it. I love watching, but I don't think, oh God, I wish I was up there.
Oh no, I mean the Panto blues in terms of after a performance, after you've done a long run with people, and the end.
Yeah, it takes you a week to come down on it, to come back out of fairyland into a normal life. It takes about a week. Come on, but you have to do it. You think roll on to next year. Where are we going? All years ago we knew where we were going. But now it's still going to be a show.
With Ben, your son, what have you passed on to him? What little nuggets of information have you passed on to him about?
Ben used to learn. I used to take him to Pantos when I was doing them. Many times he used to stand, as I did with Charlie Chester, just watching and learning. And he's asked me a couple of questions. I said, well, what did I do there? Oh, yeah. And it's slow time that. Just watch, learn. And he's a great learner, Benjamin. He loves show business. He said to watch for hours. But he loves it's a good sponge. Soaks it up.
You must be very proud of him.
I'm very proud of him, yeah, very proud. Because if it wasn't like that, if it was a dwarf that sat on his backside and done sod all, I would thump him. But no, he's got on with his life, all by himself. He's auditioned for the Royal Shakespeare Company and done 3 of their shows.
Did you never fancy doing that, a bit of Shakespeare?
Yeah. No, I'm just loving watching Ben. He did one which wasn't Shakespeare. It's called The Hypocrite. Sorry, Mark Addy and Caroline Quentin. That was one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. And Ben was absolutely brilliant with timing. The parts he played 3 parts. He played Charles II with a lisp. We'll tell you about that, but it was fun. It was really good.
Anything you'd like to have done in your career?
No, I think I've done it.
You wouldn't fancy Dame?
No, and it is hard work. Doing it, to do it properly, to do all the changes, and then you've got to get out and work, then change, work. No,
I could see you as a good Dame, though.
thank you.
I
Is it because of my persona?
bloke in a frock. That's what it is.
Bloke in a frock, love. No, I'm sure Ben will make a good Dame. He's got the youth on his side. But dames I've worked with, some great dames in my life. One of my favourites, Danny O'Day, played Eli in Last of the Summer Wine. Danny was lovely. And then Kenny Gibson, I worked with, a dear Kenny Gibson. You must know Kenny, heard of him. Funny man. I'd done 3 shows with John Spillers with Kenny. We had so many red light scenes. Which we just corpsed. One show I remember, we just crawled off the stage. I left the principal boy to it. We couldn't do anything. It was so funny. But the audience got it, what we were doing. They were with us. Which was lovely.
Have you ever had to say about a script you've had concerns about lines or anything like this?
I've had a look at a script and say, can we change this into this? How we're going to present it with the young writers, of course, who don't really understand Panto. They think we're writer Panto, but and it's all pasted copy from other scripts they might have had in their hand. And it doesn't really work. It's all cobbled together. But yeah, a couple of times I've had to change it.
And what about anything that they may have put that could be offensive or deemed offensive? Has that ever happened?
No. I've always
good.
been asked, can we call you a dwarf? I said yes, because I'm a dwarf. You don't want to be known as a person physically challenged or even superior depth. I said, no, I'm a bloody dwarf. And that's it.
People, like you said, the M word. The M word only came about to... the sensitivity about that only came around a few years ago, to be fair.
Yeah. I don't like that. I was born... I've got a condition called achondroplasia, which is the most commonest form of dwarfism. So, I'm a dwarf. End of story. Why is he small? Because he didn't grow when he was a little boy.
And it's that.
End of conversation.
And then you just get on with... It's Rusty Gough.
Yeah, get on with
the
life.
performer.
Having a bottle of wine.
Have you ever thought about writing in terms of pantomime?
No. I'm too lazy.
Oh,
I'm too lazy. I don't think I've got the talent for writing. It'd all be pinching stuff which I've done before from other writers, and I don't think that's fair. No. Not at all.
But you're writing the memoirs.
Yes, I'm writing my memoirs at the moment. Halfway through it.
Yes.
Still not going to do the subtitle.
What could tempt you to come out of retirement?
Money.
Is that okay? Fair enough.
No, I think the only thing could, if I had a part in a small part in a soap. That's the only thing I could.
You couldn't go back to a big panto or anything.
No, panto. No, it's the most hardest work ever, and I think I'm too old to do it properly, in how I wanted to do it. I am too old. I couldn't cope with it. All the hard work that you have to do to make a success of your part you're playing, the comic part, role, whatever. It's very hard, and I'm too old to do it. So
You sort of step
I don't
back,
do it.
make way for the boy.
Stand it, Ben, you're on. Yeah.
Well, this leads me on to my last question.
Right.
Your dream pantomime. So you
My
could be in
dream?
it, you could be in the stalls watching it, you can choose the production, you can choose the theatre, and your cast can be alive or dead or a mixture of both.
Right. I would like to see a pantomime with Dave Bender, because I've seen first at Wimbledon, and I just cried. I thought, ideal for pantomime. I would like to see, if we could do it, Archbishop Desmond Tutu in Panto. I think it'd be ideal. I think he would love it. He would love it. It would be funny. And you would cover lots of things. You cover religion, and you cover the colour guy, But it would be funny. I think it'd be clever. Title, what would I do? With Robinson Crusoe, I suppose, with Archbishop Desmond Tutu. It could be Man Friday. God, that'd be good.
I'm trying to think who's in Robinson Crusoe. I don't think I've seen a Robinson Crusoe in years.
You've got Mrs. Crusoe, Billy Crusoe, which is the
silly Billy
comic
character, yeah.
which is the comic, and they got Man Friday. I mean,
What's the venue then?
what is the venue? No, it has to be the London Palladium.
And you've played there before, haven't you?
I have played in the London Palladium with the Grand Order of Water Rats. Yes, we had our centenary show there.
What's it like, Walker? Because I've never stood on the stage.
It's magic. It's magic. It really is a magic place. Ben's worked on it. It really is. And it's only a, stage wooden floor. Flyers, legs, sort of curtains, tabs, and everything. And seats, auditorium goes up 3. That's the magic of the place. These things like Willy Wonka. The film had magic. The Palladium has got magic.
Well, Rusty, thank you so much for speaking to the Panto podcast.
And thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for listening. I hope you haven't turned off yet.